Welcome back everyone, I'm Jewel and today we're in the Giants editor on the Jules Peaceful Valley map. It's a Farming Simulator 19 map, but you can also probably, from my understanding, use this on Farming Simulator 22 maps as well. This is the Spline street constructor that I've been using to make my roads, as you can see over here. And I have different ones. I have a double line road there, and then I believe I put one that was a dotted line that you could pass over here. I have different roads that I made in a video. I showed you how on a tutorial how to make the lines on the roads, so if you watch that you can learn how to do that to make different ones. I also explained that at the end of these roads you could say stop the road here and then make this last little stretch on a separate piece of road, and maybe make, if you have like a traffic light here and then you need a big white line or a crosswalk or different lines at the end of a road, you might could do it that way. I haven't tried. I really don't even know that I'm gonna do that or not, but right now I'm leaving my markers in. As you can see, these white things won't be here, so don't think, oh, that's an ugly road, because that's just markers showing where the road's going to go. I left that there so that if I have to change my road, I decide to make it wider or change the lines or whatever I decide to do, the markers are there still so I can change it. But once I delete the markers, I would have to relay it all to change it. I mean, I technically probably still could if I had as long as I had the road part selected, but I don't want to take any chances on having to redo laying it all out, because it takes a while. So I'm leaving them there till I'm completely satisfied and finished with making everything and deciding where I want everything. Then I'll delete all that. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm thinking about starting over here at this side and going that way, and it's a pretty long road. As you can see, it stops here, and it's got a lot of curves, so we're going to use a double yellow line for that, because you wouldn't be able to pass anybody on a road where you have too many turns like that. You'd only be able to pass on a straight shot. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to minimize this, and as you can see, it's got roadway 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's why we've already done all those. Each separate one is a road. We're going to go ahead and start and make our 7th one. So let's go ahead and get started. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. Appreciate all the new subscribers, and if you haven't already, go ahead and hit subscribe. Help the channel grow. If you like these videos, I'd make a lot of different videos, some map tutorials. So I play Farming Simulator 19, I play Farming Simulator 22 in the gameplay, and I'm going to be making some maps for Farming Simulator 22 game as well as soon as possible. And I do Ranch Simulator, Trader Life Simulator, Gold Rush the game, and some other videos, some demos and things. So stay tuned, check it out, hit the like button, and let's get started. Hit create, transform group, roll down, click on it where it says transform at the bottom of the scene graph, and if you don't have the scene graph in there, you click on window and you click scene graph and it'll pop up. If you need attributes, which you probably need to do all 4 of these, you need scene graph, attributes, user attributes, and terrain editing for sure. And then later you'll need material editing and some of the others, but mostly you don't need those very often until later. So we already have all those open, so they're all over here, so we're good there. Now we're going to click in the attributes box under the transform tab, highlight the word transform in the name box and write roadway 7, and that's what my road's going to be labeled as. And once that changes down here, we're going to go ahead up to the top, hit file while it's highlighted down there, and hit export selection. It's going to pop up right here because I've already done it before, but like I say, if this is your first one, you really should watch my first street spline constructor video on it. There is some information though that has changed from that video. The place and the link that I had put in the description is no longer available. They closed the site, so you can't get the Spline Street constructor application there anymore, which is the application that runs to be able to put this road in. So there is another alternative. So let's go ahead and have a look real quick at that. Let me see. See, this is on, you type it in Google, and I typed in the Spline Street constructor, and this one is an older version, I'm assuming, because it says 1.1, but I believe the one I had was a 1.7. But if you have to, type it in Google, type in the name of this, Spline Street constructor, buy track max, and see if you can't find one. Maybe you can find a more current one, but I'm assuming you can download this one. Just come down to direct download, I would assume is where you would hit it, and maybe that one will work. It looks like they used a little different markers, so I mean anything's fine as long as you know how to do it, which it should be the same process. So anyway, that's a update on that if you can't find the Spline Street constructor. And also, if you look back at the first video where I was telling you about the guy that I learned it from on YouTube, watch his videos. He's got like 3 of them, different ones, but one in particular, the first one, is the one I'm using that method that he used. The other methods are putting it in with script, and you can do that as well. But the marker, he has the marker and the Spline Street constructor on a Google Drive. But go watch his channel and give him some views, and if you can click on it and see if it's still there in his description, you might can get it if he still has it. But if not, you'll have to look it up on Google or somewhere to find the Spline Street constructor. But I just wanted to let y'all know so y'all could still be able to get it somewhere. But I'm assuming that this one should be decent enough. I mean, I'm sure it was a first go round, but it might still get the job done. Just look it up on Google and see what you can do. But anyway, let's jump back over to the map, or we'll jump to this real quick. And downloads is where you're going to end up with your Spline Street constructor after you download it. Once you do that, I made a folder in here and named it Spline Street Constructor Main 1, and then I made a folder called Marker Main 1. So when I downloaded the marker and the Spline Street constructor, I put them each in their own folder. Then I also, when it's zipped up when you first get it, I clicked on it and I clicked right click, copy. I clicked, don't click cut, click copy. Then I clicked on desktop, made a new folder, and called it Backup Spline Street Constructor, so it would it'd be a backup copy, so that if something happened, I messed something up, I still got it fresh on the desktop. So then put the zip file in there and leave it, and don't mess with it, don't use it from there. Then you go back to here and you left click on it, and then right click on the zipped up file, and you would click extract all. Or if you have a different program, some people have 7-zip and other things, you would just figure out where to unzip it at, and then you would unzip it and it would pop up to this. Once it does, this is where all the stuff gets in, like the roadway ones and stuff that I made, 6.2 and all that, and the splines that I'm gonna make. So these would not be in your folder. None of those would be there. The only thing you would have would be all of this up to road 51. You would have that. I made these in the paint.net, which I show a video of, and then you wouldn't have any of that, splines and roads. You'd have to make it like I just showing you right now, and then you'd have all the rest of it. And then you would click on application, double click it to open the actual program to work in it. But for now, we're going to go ahead and continue. So basically all we did is titled our name, clicked export selection. We didn't click export selection with files, we clicked export selection. Once it pops up, after you've downloaded the Spline Street constructor, go to downloads, find the folder you made, open it, open up the Spline Street constructor, and then in here is where you're going to want to put your I3Ds, which is these things. This is going to be where your road is. You're going to click on file name, don't click on any of these. and then you're going to type roadway 7. You're going to click save, and it's going to save it. Now on the old video, the first video, I told you to delete that, and then we made another one, but you don't have to delete it. I told you probably didn't have to delete it, but you don't, so don't delete it, that one. But you will delete this next one. You're going to hit create spline. You're going to click on it. You're going to title it 7. Okay, and you probably don't even have to title that one 7 because you're going to be taking it out of here. But anyway, export selection, and here it's going to pop you back up to the same spot if you just did your roadway. But if it don't, go back to downloads, back to this Spline Street Constructor area, and then right when it pops this up, you're going to title it Spline 7. It's got to be save it as an i3D, both of them that you did. Save. Alright, so once that's done, we're going to delete this because we don't need this one here anymore. So delete that. Alright, so now we're good there. Now we're going to click back on roadway 7, and you see this arrow, this blue arrow? We want it to be facing the way that we're going to go. Now what we could do, if we wanted, if we didn't want to change that, and we're like, oh, it's already pointing that way, so you could start from the other side. I could start here and come this way, and then I wouldn't even have to change that because it would be pointing in the way that I'm going. You need it to point in the way that you're going, laying the road. But in my case, I want to start from over here, so I'm going to click on translate. No, wait. I'm going to click on rotate Y and type, I believe, 180. Let me see. Yep, 180. And that put me going in the right direction. It doesn't have to be exactly going that way, just a general idea, and then you're good. So leave the rest 0. Don't drag this around. You don't need to do that. Just the rotate 80. I mean the rotate Y 180 on that one, or whatever you had to put. Try 90. Try 120. Whatever you got to type. Or you technically could just drag it, but I typically don't do that. But you technically probably could. I think I did it on one of them. It didn't pose a problem, so don't worry about it if you do that. It shouldn't be, but if it does pose a problem, then make sure you do it from here, but it shouldn't. Alright, now once we're done with that, we're ready for the marker. We're going to come to File, Import, and then go back to the downloads. Go to the main marker where you downloaded it, where you put it in here, and then you're going to click on Post, which is the marker. It's also called a plane. You're going to click Open. It's going to come down here and be called a plane 001. You're going to click Edit, Cut, and then you're going to put it in the roadway 7. You're going to put Edit, Paste, just like that. Now with the plane highlighted, you're going to come down here where you want to be, and you're going to hit Control B as in boy and let go, and then click where you want it with your left mouse and click again to finalize it. And then be sure when you click again to finalize it, see how that highlighted the mountains? Don't mess up and move that or click delete, because you'll mess everything up. Go ahead and click up in the sky to get it off of there, or click back onto here. So just be careful when you're clicking, because sometimes you highlight something you didn't know. So you're going to tilt it with this blue one here, then you're going to tip it around, and if you've seen the other videos, you get the idea of all this. So but sometimes it throws different errors, and I just wanted to go ahead and show everybody, go along as I'm making the roads. If you're enjoying this particular map series of me making the map, so if you haven't seen it, then check out the first few. But but you need to watch the second one to know how to do a second road, because it's different. You had to make sure you create that road again. Now on this one, you got to make sure the dot in the line is back where the road's going to be. So imagine where your road's going to be. It's going to come across. It's probably something like that, even though that's a little further over. So that looks about pretty much right. Probably could tip it and bring it out a little bit further, and we can slide that road over if we have to. But this dot needs to hit that line where that road would be. So not this piece, but the dot. That's where it's going to butt up against your road. Now you're going to come to the road area. Now don't worry about that dip under there. We can bring the ground up to the flatness of the road. So we're going to leave that at that angle though, because that needs to hit the road that way. So that one looks pretty good. We could lower it, but then you got all that, and you can tip it a little bit, but you don't want to go too far. You want it to be kind of level, like it would be hitting the road. Alright, so now we're going to hit Control D one time real quick, because if you hold it down you're going to make too many planes and then it's going to pose you a problem. So don't do that, but if you do, delete them and do it again, because it'll mess up when you go to make the road. You'll pull the wrong one forward. Then you're going to pull this forward. I'm going to go ahead and lift this one up, and we can tip it, move it over, bring it down a little further. Let's get under there. Okay, so the ground wasn't perfectly smooth here, so I'm going to tip it up and adjust that. I don't want that to be. I'm going to click on sculpt mode, come over to the terrain editing where the brush is. I have it on the round brush, as you can see, the brush type, and then I'm going to click on the left mouse button, put it on add, and I'm going to come over here, roll it down a little, and just straighten that up a little, bring it up more reasonable. There we go, because it'll just look better and roll better when you go down the hill. Alright, smooth that out a little bit, smooth this piece back a little. Alright, that's good. So I'm going to lift it up just a little, tip it a little, and there we go. So now this is going to connect into this one, and I'm going to turn it just a little bit there, and I think we're good. Let's get down below so we can see the angle. Looks pretty good. So the road's going to be coming on down. I'm going to hit Control D and bring this down, and as you can see, it was quite the change in the level. So I'm going to tip this, bring it over, turn it, bring it back, tip it this way. Alright, now I'm going to come up and get a little closer, lower it, tip it up a little bit, and as you can see, that's going to start coming down. We can come back and level that up a little if we like. If we don't like it, just adjust it. With the sculpt mode, doesn't have to hit the ground, doesn't have to be right on the money. You can also come back and put it back on subtract if you need to a little bit, if it went too high, and turn that off. Roll it back just a little, roll it up a little, bring it up, and slide it over a little, turn it just a little. There we go. It's pretty good, and it don't have to be, like I say, it don't have to hit it just right on the road. It's going to make it flat going down, so we don't have to worry about that. We'll be able to adjust the ground under it once we're through. So we're going to hit Control D and then drag forward, lift up, turn it, bring it over, lower it, and again come down where you can see, tip it a little, drag it over some more, bring it around, and so that's going to curve. As you can see, we want to tip it up a little because of how the ground does, so it should drop down to that one on the back side there. Gonna bring it down, and we're gonna hit subtract on these two edges a little bit, just get that situated. Bring it down right there. We can hit add just to get under it a little on the middle part. There we go, and that's good, and it should follow along pretty nicely, and we can always adjust anything we need to. Now we're going to hit Control D, and it's going to be a long road, so of just doing this, and you don't have to go very far when it's a change in the elevation there, but if it's flat and straight, then you can go a lot further apart with these, and it's not a problem. So once you're happy with what you got, Sorry about the dogs barking. They might bark again, not sure. But anyway, you get the point. So what I'm gonna probably do is just keep going off screen and just making the road, and then catch back up with you when I'm a little further in between each of these. I gotta lower that down, as you can see, a little bit. But anyway, I'm gonna catch you in a minute and update you on how much I've done. Okay, so we've went pretty far here. I've passed all that up past this road, coming down to this road, and we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show you a little. I haven't passed any roads yet, so I'm just guesstimating at where I want this. But if you look at this road, wherever that flat part is on this angle, then you figure just so far from there. So I figure from here to there is about that distance. We could slide it over just a little, but up to that right line right there, and hopefully that's going to be pretty straight. Try to get this arrow lined up with the angle of this road here, so that when it falls on there, it hits right. And lower it down a little bit. Obviously we're going to have to adjust it once we see it, but anyway, Control D, move forward, and as you can see, I'm going to line it up with that line, try to see if that gives us the distance we need. It may not. It may have to be slid over these two, even maybe one of those. But basically I'm trying to get this angle just right where when the road hits, it'll fall against this road. And then we're going to lower it down just a little. We may have to adjust it, like I say. It depends on this angle and all these other angles, but pretty much about right there. Hit Control D, and I'm going to continue on, and you can tell it's the same system, just forward, getting it adjusted, dragging it forward, and some of it's flat, so I can go further. But anyway, I'm going to do a little more off screen and head that way. So catch you in a minute. Alright, we're back at the end, and hopefully my turn looks okay. Looks like I need to adjust that one a little bit, potentially. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and duplicate. I think I didn't duplicate it. Nope, I did. You got to watch that. And also, a tip, sometimes when you're clicking on this one and you accidentally click off, when you click back on, what happens if you've already duplicated it, you accidentally grab the one before. See how when I clicked on it, it grabbed the one ahead of it instead of the last one? Make sure you check that and switch it back to the last one, because if you don't, you'll drag this other one forward, that one, and then you'll be flip-flopped and it won't work. So make sure you keep a check on that. I might have to adjust some of these. I didn't follow the curve because I wanted it to be a different type of a turn here, and it makes it a little easier when you're trying to make the road. So I'm going to drag this one out, and imagine this road, imagine this is the side we're going to be meeting up with, because this one's going to be widened. So it's going to come across right there. So we're going to put this dot right here on this edge where the road should end up. We can always adjust all that later. Like I say, I'm not removing the markers yet, even though if you were fully finished you would. I'm not, so that I can adjust anything I need to and rerun it. And also I'm going to add a little dirt here, or ground, just to straighten that up a little bit. Alrighty. I'm going to lift this up just a little, because it's usually better if it's off the ground just a little. Alright, so we should be good. Now I'm going to go ahead and make the road, and I'm going to come back and just show you. You try to make it where the road would actually look like that, would curve that way. We may have some errors on these curves, and this is the one bypassing this road. So as you can see, we've already laid it out. I came up against these. I tried to make it where it would be just enough gap there to finish off at the road, and If there's any that needs adjusting, they can be adjusted or whatever, but for the most part it looks okay as far as I can see. And you just go along and you can see the curve here. I might have to adjust that a little bit. Might be too far though. Just have to adjust it if it's any errors. Some of these might throw errors because it's a lot of curves. I didn't show all that, but you just basically tilt it, just get it all into place. Sometimes you need to not tilt it, so we may have to flatten it down some more. But anyway, we're back to the beginning, and that's where we started. So we're going to go ahead and make this road. What you're going to do is come up here, click roadway 7, and you're going to come up here to File, Export Selection, go to Downloads, go to the Spline Street Constructor Main 1, the one that you're using, and open it up. And then you're gonna click on the Spline 7, save it. Yes, you want to replace it so that it puts this one in there. Then you're gonna go back to the Downloads, and you're gonna go to the Spline Street Constructor and double click on it. Double click on the one that's open, and you're going to find the application. There it is. Double click on that, and once you're in here, you're going to click on Load Parameter, Strasse for Street, Open. I don't want any grass on both sides. If you do want grass, then this one popped up, then you would click this check, and then you would click Copy, and it would put the stuff on this side. But I don't want any, so I'm going to uncheck both. But if you have them both checked and you look at this button, it shows you grass is on this side and grass is on that side, and this is the road. If you only select one and you click it, it just only has the side that you select. There will be grass on that side. So, and if you select that one with only the middle, just a road. So that's what I want. Then you're going to come up here, change this to roadway 7. And you're going to hit add 3D file. You're going to pick roadway 7. When you find it, that's the one you made, hit save. If you need this to be wider, which in this case I am because all my bridges were like a 9, I think, I'm going to go ahead and put 9. But you can put whatever size width of the road you want, and it's under this BREITE. I'm not sure what that is in German. This is all in German. But if you follow my steps, you don't even got to read it, just as long as you know which ones I'm clicking. Going to click on this one where the texture thing is, and in this case you would have to select this one if you just downloaded it. If you haven't followed my tutorial about making road lines in paint.net, you won't have these. You'll have this one, and that one, and that'll be pretty much it. So you would be selecting that and hitting open, and that would be the road you would have. But I made one that has double lines, and that's what I'm going to use, double yellow lines. And I'm going to click open. Then I'm going to come down here, and as you can see, we're going to pick the Spline 7 and click open, and it says 80, which is 80 of the markers. So let's go back. There's 80 of these white markers. Okay, so we're going to click back on this. If you push the arrow thing up, 1, 2, 3, it would go all the way through 80. And what that is XYZ translate and XYZ rotate. If you was to click on just that one, excuse me, you see this XYZ translate and rotate, those coordinates are in that first one. So if you go back here and you go back to the first one, you'll see those are the coordinates. See it? -2.126, and so on. They all match. See it? So that's what that does. So just leave that like it is. If you've not watched the first video, you're going to need to click on this and put these as 4 4 top boxes as 1, they were 5 or something. Then click OK and you won't have to do that again. But in my case, I've already done it, so I'm going to hit cancel. Now you're ready to go. If you've clicked on, oh wait, yeah, you did that, the I3D, you did this one, did the size of the road, you did the splines, and of course you had to load that in first. Then you're good to go and you hit go. Now we have a problem. When you have a problem, you're going to look at this number. It's number 39 and 40. We're going to hit OK. We're going to minimize this. We're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and we're going to click on it. Well, I clicked on the wrong thing. Must have went under the map. Hang on, we got to count to 39 and 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. We'll remember that one. 22, 23, 24, 25, 6, 7, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. So 39 and 40, I believe, is the two. These are the two that they were saying something about, which don't even make sense because they look fine to me. But let's find out what's wrong. Okay, what are they complaining about? So if we go back one, that's what happened. See how it went the wrong way? They got switched. So this one needs to be swapped out with the other one. That's what happened. See it? So from there, it should jump to this next one, and it's jumping way over here. So this one needs to be there, and this one needs to be over here. That's what I was telling you. When you accidentally click off of it, it changes it. So now we need to just adjust this to get into the spot the way that one was. Get it where we want it. See, that's why I'm glad it showed it, so that you can understand what to do and how to troubleshoot these errors when it pops one up, because it's a simple mistake. Because what's happening is, like I was explaining, you click on it, then you duplicate it, but then you accidentally clicked off before you moved it, and when you do and you click back on it, it's putting the first one and not the one you just duplicated. So you need to click on the lowest one and then drag it forward. It would be here, and then you would drag it forward. So now we need to click on that one and see. We're going to go down the line and see that one, then that one. We're going to back up, then we're going to click this one. Okay, so far so good. So now we're good. It should be fine. We've all fixed it all up. Now it still could be some errors after that, because they're running the first error, so we could have some down there, but we're going to go ahead and resend it. So we're going to click on roadway 7, file, export selection. We're going to find the spline 7, click on that, hit save, yes, replace it, open this back up. Notice we didn't X out, we minimized it. If you exit out, you got to redo all that again that I just showed you. If you just minimized it, then when you come back, you can leave everything else the same and just click on this spline area, go back to the spline 7, click on it, hit open, and it puts your new coordinates in. Then you hit go. Now it looks fine, it didn't throw an error. And then we're going to come over here to file, and we just minimized that. We still didn't close it. And then we're going to hit import. Going to pick roadway 7, open, and it's going to pop it in the bottom. Make sure it's highlighted, hit edit, cut, roll back up to the top of this long list, hit roadway 7, edit, paste. It's going to put it in there. You're going to come over here, leave everything highlighted and alone, go up to translate Y, and put 0.47, and it's going to put the road up, and you're going to have to adjust it, obviously, because you got to smooth it and everything. But it puts the road in now. Now we can see we have a little issue down here, but most of it's pretty good. So that's good to know. Let's come to the end, check it. Alright, not bad. So most of it's fine. There's a couple this one needs to be lowered. You can see the road's up a little bit too high. But other than that, we can adjust all that because that's the ground where I didn't smooth it. So that's the only reason it did all that. Alright, now this one, this is where when you have this problem, find where you can see it good so you can tell which way to flip it. Alright, so we're going to have to flip it. So this one we're going to click on and gently tilt it toward the red, this side. We're going to tip it, this side comes up, that side goes down. Just a little to lower that. We're going to click on this one and do the same thing. We're going to lift it but a little bit more because we want this side to go down. This one we're going to click on. I'm going to gently drag it over and around a little bit, and then I'm going to tip it. And as far as I can tell, unless this did a full twist, if this did a full twist, there may have been something where this flipped around somehow. Worst case scenario, I could do a couple different things. I could delete that whole thing and just let it run from there to there, but we'll see. We'll test it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate it a lot because it looks like it did a flip, but it might needed to come this way depending on how it flipped. And then this one is up on that side, so when it's up on the side that it's up on, usually you tilt toward that side. Just tilt it, even if it looks silly. See how that's going to be tipped up higher and you're like, that's silly. Just do it, because usually it fixes it. So we're going to test it again and go back and have a look at everything. Let's test this, see how close we were. We weren't perfect, but let me see. Going to hit sculpt mode. We're going to hit smooth to get it off of there. Look at that. That was a pretty good guess. I think I might be satisfied with it. See how it come up to the road? We'll have to come from this side to see how good it looks. Alright, this side may have to be tilted a little bit, but we can worry about that on this one. So what I could do is I could click this one. I ain't gonna do it, but you could tilt this side slightly down, just a little bit on this side, like pull it this away, just a little bit, and rerun this road here, this spline, and we should be pretty much straight on that one. But I'm not gonna do it on screen, but you get the point. So that's how you would fix it. Just rerun it just like you did the others, but just tilt it enough. I think that we're close enough together that once we did that, we would be fine. We would butt up against it enough. So we should be fine there. Okay. So in the rest of these, you just would click on and smooth it, or if you can't smooth it, you would take the subtract feature and just give it a little cleaning up around the edges here, because it always does that when you're putting the road in, if it's not just a flat road and you got little bumps here and there. So you're just going to adjust it all. You know, I'll do that most likely off screen because it's just the basics. You're just hitting subtract or smooth. Smooth first. If that don't work, hit subtract, and then you just go along and just continue to do that. And we're gonna run on up here and check everything. Everything looks good. We'll just hit smooth, knock it down a little bit, and if it don't work with smooth, we'll hit subtract barely. Make sure you have these settings right here kind of lower when you do that, because otherwise it's gonna knock it slam down deep hole. You want it on a lower setting. But anyway, you get the point on that. I'm not gonna go ahead and do all that on screen. You get the point with that part. Let's just try to worry about this road getting fixed. I'm just checking these corners, making sure they look right, and I think we're pretty good on that. So I'm gonna run on over here. Yeah, everything looks good right there. This will be the time to adjust it if you don't like a bump or a height change. See how that one did? A little bit of a bump there. Same thing here. What you would do if you don't like the way it did, you need to get this cleaned up so you can see what you got. Alright, now then, Right, you can tell where you're having problems at now. So this is the side. So you're gonna grab this one and you're gonna tip it towards you down. So this part goes down a little. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. Click this one, tip it towards you. Alright, and some of them you can lower just a little bit. Not much, just a little bit. Alright, this one, we're going to lower it. And we're going to tip it toward us a little bit. Click on this one to tip it toward us. To get that to, and we're going to turn it gently because it's got a little crook there it looks like. So we're going to take that out of the way. We're going to subtract this because we ran into that wall a little bit. So I did that on purpose because how the turns need to go. We can always lift the ground up. Once we flatten it a little, we can get this ground right up under there. We can lift it up. So don't panic. If you put it on add, you can lift this ground right back up. You're going to want to lift this up a little higher just to get it to go quicker. But you get the point. You can lift it right back up. So I'm going to click undo because I don't want it too much right now till I see what my road's going to do. Alright, so I already tilted all them. The rest of them's pretty much right. These are okay. The road looks bare right there. We might have a little bumpiness here. We're going to have to adjust because I did it on an angle. So you'll have to adjust that. So what you're going to do is click on it and you're going to tip it just a little. Click on it, tip it a little. Click on it, tip it. And then what we're going to do, since the ground is all there, we're going to subtract some of that ground just to get it situated. Get that down and come subtract a little bit off this side just to help with that lowering it on that side. Now as you can see, that one's pretty turned. So I think that was an issue too. I didn't realize it was that turned. But anyway, you're going to want these not to be too extravagantly turned. And that can cause stuff as well. So try to adjust those so that they don't make it all bumpy. And then if you needed to tilt this one, tilt it a little bit. And so on. But those look decent mostly. So we would just subtract this road off of there. Ground off the road. Get the ground off the road. Try to use smooth unless it don't let you, and then you subtract. But anyway, we're going to try it again. We're not going to worry about all this part right here yet. Well, I guess I am kind of worrying about it. There we go. Alright, so the rest of it looks decent. The road's, a bumpy road, regular little swervy little road. We may have needed to lower that. It's quite the angle. But let's get that test one again since we moved some. 7, File, Export Selection, find the Spline 7, save, yes, replace. Come back in here. Since we didn't X out, we don't have to do anything but the spline. Go back to Spline 7, hit OK, hit go, minimize, come back to File, Import, Roadway 7. You would think you want Spline, but you don't. You want Roadway 7, hit Open. It's going to put it at the bottom. You're going to hit Edit while it's highlighted, Cut, you're going to come back up, click Roadway 7, Edit, Paste. Then once that's pasted, and we forgot to delete, jump ahead back to the other one and delete it. Forgot to delete it. So then go back to the Roadway 7 on the bottom, and then on Translate Y hit 0.47. Normally you would delete that last one before you even take the spline stuff out. So alright, so now we're back. Let's have a look. Looks a little bit better right there. I could make it a regular flat turn and not have it angled, but I'll have to look at it in game, see if I like it. But basically the main stuff's done. Obviously you got to clean all that up with the smooth or the subtract feature, but you get the point. You know how to do that, so that's not that big a deal. And then just roll along, cleaning it up and seeing what happened. and it looks like our corner that we had to fix looks better. As you can see, it looks better. Looks like we might have a little bit of a lift right here. Same thing, you're going to click on it, you're going to tip it some more. I might have went a little far, there we go. And then that should level this out. And you just keep checking it that way. If this one needs to go a little more, you just level it out a little more. And same thing, you just run along looking how it looks. If you see a spot needs that this one's maybe too far over, you could drag it over if that looked like that was a problem. Just keep looking at it like that and making sure the angle's right. And like I say, if it looks pretty good and you're not worried about tipping this one, you can just make the round come up. Just hit add. As long as the road looks okay, you can just bring that up to it. You don't got to worry about, you know, fighting with it to turn it if you don't mind a slight little bump there. And then you just come along and look at the other ones you checked and moved, and looks like we didn't get this one right, so we had some issues. I'll have to check and see. Let me go back and check. So we got that one, right under it's that one, then we have that one, then that one, then that one. So it ain't the markers, they're correct on that. So what I'm gonna do is click on the road and I'm gonna lift it so I can see what in the world it's doing. Okay, so it's doing a big major dip. Okay, so I'm gonna click undo. Alright, so now I gotta look at it, try to see what's going on. I think I'm too far over, so I'm gonna bring that over and see if that helps. Tip this a little bit that way. Bring this over. See what happens here. We're gonna bring this one over and bring that one over. Try to get it a different, maybe it's the angle or something's not hitting right. But you just have to keep troubleshooting it. It seems like it's starting on that one, so I'm gonna bring it over and turn it some more. And basically this one seems a little bit, maybe right there. But anyway, the rest of it looks good. I'm satisfied with that. So we're going to delete the roadway again. Go back up to the top. Roadway 7, File, Select, Export Selection. Then you're going to pick Spline 7, Save, yes. Open this. Put the new spline in with Spline 7. Hit Open. Go, come back, import, roadway 7, open, and if it's highlighted, hit edit, cut, roll back up to the roadway 7, click edit, paste. It's going to put it in. It fixed it a little bit, but it's still slightly messed up. Hit on translate Y while it's highlighted, hit 0.47, and it's going to bring it, situate it. So look, that helped a little, see. So but we're not quite there yet. It's something about the way that they're either, maybe this one's too close. We're gonna tilt it a little and tilt it. We might even bring it up a little, just see if that kind of straightens it out a little. Then we're gonna click on this one and bring it over a little to bring it, these corners that are up need to come down, so that's usually what you're gonna do. Okay, so this one looks decent. I think we're good on the rest of that, and we already checked the rest of that road, so I'm satisfied enough with it. So now we're going to delete the road again. You're gonna come up here and you just keep going until you get it figured out. Okay, yeah, it showed all of them. I don't know why it's showing that one though. I guess that's just where that happened to be. Okay, that's fine. Make sure that's highlighted. Hit File, Export Selection. Pick your Spline 7. Save it. Yes, replace it. open this up, go on Spline, put Spline 7, click open, make sure you hit Spline 7, hit go, minimize, file, import, roadway 7, open. You're going to hit edit, cut as long as it's highlighted, roll it back up here, click on roadway 7, edit, paste. Once it pasted in, hit on translate Y, 0.47, and then check your stuff. Looks pretty close. It's not quite. This side needs a little bit of a tilt. So what we might do is we might actually bring this one over a little, tip it just a little, and then this one we're going to tip just a little bit that way. But pretty much you can tell it's changing and getting better every time. So, and I do think that part of the reason is this road. We need to take subtract and get some of that kind of out of the way so it can take care of the road properly, and then we should be all set. Alright, so we should be good. We're gonna try it again. Gonna delete the road, go back up, and you have to have patience because sometimes you have to do it quite a few times. This one we might just slightly move it. Sorry about that noise. Alright, we're going to move it back up. Roadway 7, file, export selection, Spline 7, save, yes. Open this, put it in here, Spline 7, open, go, minimize. You're going to come back, file, import, roadway 7, open. You're going to edit, cut, roll back up, roadway 7, edit, paste, come to translate Y, 0.47, and you're getting somewhere, but you're not quite. But as you can see, if you keep doing it, you will get it. I probably moved that one in a while ago and I shouldn't have. Plus I need to adjust that road. You see how that ground is right there? I'm going to adjust that. Put it on add. Anytime there's a big jump from something, you're going to want to fix it. There we go. Alright, so that part should be good. We're going to barely tilt this one just a little. And this one we're going to tilt just a little more. And I think this side was decent. I don't see any reason to move that one anymore. This one might need to tilt back and maybe even move it back a little, so maybe it's a little close to that one. Anything that you think will help this turn be more smooth. And I'll take a subtract to this stuff, get it smoothed down a little bit. But as you can see, you just gotta keep adjusting. It will work, it just takes some finagling with, so to speak. So we're gonna delete the road again. I ain't gonna keep doing it. I'm just do it probably one more time just to give you the idea. But you can adjust it. It will work. You just gotta keep finagling with it. You can also see this one. See how the road curves there? You could try pulling that one over a little bit. See if that lessens the strain of this road, and then pull that one over a little bit too. See if that helped it any. We're gonna click on the road, hit delete, roll back up to roadway 7, file, export selection, go to the Spline 7, save, yes, click down here, click on Splines, Spline 7, go, and then you're going to come back. As you can see, there's quite a dip there. We need to fix that. That might be a problem. Alright, we may have to adjust it after the other, but anyway, so now we have it. So now we're going to import it, import roadway 7, open, going to cut it, paste it in the top one, and Once it's in, we're going to hit on this, translate Y, 0.47, and there you go. You see it looks better already. And if there's any little discrepancy that you don't like, just always adjust it, and you can adjust this one if you want. Which I'm satisfied I can make the road go up to that point, but if you have to tip this one, you would tip it more this way just a little bit. You might even take a little more off this side on the ground, lower it just to make sure it hits level. And then this one looks pretty decent. That one, what you're going to want to do is just come to the add, make sure it's on add, and you can just bring that right on up to that level. Then you can smooth out get it off the road, but as long as you got it up under there. And then you're going to move yourself down a little further, and then you can put add right here to get it under there, and you're not going to have any problems, you know, with it. Then you just come over it and you take it and smooth it like that with the smooth part, and then you're back to the level you need to be, but it's up around the edges where you want it. And then once you're done with all that, and you've already troubleshooted all your little problems, and you got it where it looks decent and you're happy with it, then you're done. Then you would take and you would go up here and click on the first plane. Then you would hold down control, and then you could click all these, but I think there's another way to do it. I think you hit control and then you roll to the bottom, and I think you hit shift and then click, and then while you're holding control, then you hit shift, click on the last one you want to, from the top to the bottom of where you want to highlight, and then it would highlight all the planes. Well, that's because I had already had those two, but you get the point. If you started from up here, you click on that one, hit control shift, roll to the bottom. While you're holding that, then click the bottom one, and it highlights all of them in between there, between where you wanted. Then you hit delete, so it would delete them all. And then once you do that, you're just gonna have this and the last bottom roadway 7 one in this transform group. Then you're gonna go up to file, export selection with files, and the path you're gonna follow is you're gonna take it to your map, which I'll go there, but I'm not gonna save it. You would take it to your map, which mine's in documents, my games, FS19 mods, Jules Peaceful Valley maps. You would take it to whatever folder you chose for it, which I would pick, say, objects. Then I would click on here, title it roadway 7, or whichever one you're working on, then hit save. That's what you would do. Then you would hit, once you've hit save, it'll pop you back in here, but I'm gonna hit cancel because I'm not ready yet, because I didn't delete them yet. Then you're gonna come in here and click file, import. Then you would go back to your documents folder, my games, FS19 mods, Jules Peaceful Valley maps, and objects, and then you would go find the road that you put in there. Like, say it was this one, pretend this one said roadway 7. Then you would click on it, click open, and bring it back in, and you would be all set. So it would put the right path. That right there, when you bring it out and bring it back in like that with the files, it paths it for you in the right path to find it in the folder. So if it's not path right, you'll have problems. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I'm not going to do that part yet. Like I say, I'm leaving the splines in case I change something. But I appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed. I'm going to catch you on the next one. Basically, we got this nice long road here. Let me come up back where you can see better. And you can see the other roads. I got one here, there, one across the bridge, one this way, one there, some over there. But basically, you get the point. It's quite the road system and curves I've got in this one. So I'm gonna back off where we can see it better. See how that long road is? That's the longest one I've done yet. So, but you can see it works. It helps and makes everything go to the ground, so you don't have to use all those flat roads and stuff. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I'm gonna catch you on the next one. Appreciate all new subscribers. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the like button. And I'm gonna catch you on the next one. Stay tuned for more map making. Goodbye, everybody.